Okay, so we're going to be starting the calorimetry lab right now. I currently have the thermometer in 40 milliliters of water, and I've had it sitting there for just a little bit so we can make sure we get an accurate starting temperature. And it looks like this is starting off at 19 degrees Celsius. So on our data table that says candle wax, alcohol hand gel, pine chips, and birch bark, in the very first column we would record a starting temperature of 19 degrees Celsius. I had written down 20 earlier, and I looked at it closely, and I wrote 19, so 19 degrees Celsius. I also have the balance set up so that we can see how much our starting fuel, which is the candle wax, and its starting mass is 20.45 grams. So I'm going to set that up underneath our calorimeter. And as you can see, the thermometer is in the water but not touching the bottom or any of the glass. It's just touching the water. I'll set this up so we can see inside while I'm lighting the match. And because candles will burn a significantly long, pretty long time, I'm going to just let this candle burn for about 2 minutes. Because in my experience, the other fuels burn for about 2 minutes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on the thermometer at this point. You can kind of watch what's going on with the temperature here. It's having a hard time focusing. You see it's at 20 right now, just beginning to rise a little bit. See if I can get it to focus. Doesn't want to play. We're about 1 minute in. Now, as the candle's burning, if you've watched candles burn before, you see some of the wax turns liquid, and that is what's actually going up the wick and burning off. So the next couple measurements we're going to get on your data table, we'll get the ending temperature, and we've got about 10 seconds left for that. And after I blow out the candle and we get the ending temperature, we're going to take a look at the mass now. So we're at 2 minutes right now. I'm going to blow out the candle. But what we're going to do is we're going to watch the thermometer. So it's currently at 30, 29, 27 degrees. But I blew out the candle and the temperature is still going up. So if you think about it, the heat was coming up from the bottom. See, it's now up to 28. The heat was coming at the bottom, and temperature, again, is a measure of the average kinetic energy of all those molecules. So it's mixing right now. So it's almost up to 29. So if we had just taken the temperature as soon as I blew it out, we would lose a couple of degrees. And since we're multiplying that, we'd be getting some not so accurate information. So it looks like our ending temperature is at 29 degrees, and we're going to write that on our data table right here. So our ending temperature is 29 degrees. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this over on the balance, and we're going to see our ending mass, which is 20 3/10. And you will record that on your data table as 20 and 3/10. It's going to be your responsibility to find the change in temperature and the change in mass. I'm going to swap this out for our next fuel. I'm not going to touch that because that was just under some flame. And our next fuel is going to be some alcohol hand gel. The things that says right in the packaging, caution flammable, don't stick your hands in it. We're going to set that on fire and see how much heat we get out of it. You can see right now I've got a pan right here. I'm going to put 2 squirts in. I'm putting that on the balance right now, and while the temperature is settling in for our second test, we've got a starting mass of 20.44 grams, so very similar to the other one. So 20.44 grams, and we've got a starting temperature of, once again, 19 degrees. So again, on your data table, 19 degrees, and I'm going to bring the alcohol hand gel back under the calorimeter. I'm going to set that on fire, and we will let that burn until it is completely extinguished. I'll get down here so you can actually see that. Not sure if you can see in there, but we do have a nice little blue flame going on, indicating a pretty hot source. I'm going to zoom back in on the thermometer so you can watch the temperature change as we go. So it started at 19. And all the heat energy from that fuel is going up into the water, and we see the thermometer starting to creep up. There you go, I finally got the camera to focus. As you can see, the flame's still burning quite well. You see the temperature rising. So the water is gaining the heat energy from the fuel that we're burning. As you can see, we've already surpassed the temperature change of the first one, and it's still burning quite strongly right now. Temperature's still going up. Flame's still burning quite well. So we've already gone past 35 degrees. Flame looks like it's starting to die out a little bit. It's starting to flicker. Flame's actually starting to turn orange. It's cooling down. Okay, so maybe it's going to burn a couple more seconds. You can see the temperature is well over 40 degrees.
I actually went by it, but I snuck.
A little bit of gel left. And it just went out. Again, we're going to allow it to, we're going to let it settle in. It's at 45 degrees right now. I'm just seeing if it goes past that or if it's just, I mean, it's literally right on 45 degrees right now. All right, so our ending temperature is 45 degrees. As you can see, I've written that on the data table right there. We're about to check out the ending mass. And we're getting ending mass of 18.3. 18.34 grams. So 18.34 grams. We've got our next batch of 40 milliliters of water acclimating right now. The thermometer is still coming down from being way up high. So we're just going to let that settle in. Let's set this pan off. I'm going to mass out the next one, which would be the pine chips. Starting mass of the pine chips is 20.37 grams. Again, I'm recording that right here. 20.37 grams. So I've got the pine chips in there right now. Clearly see them. Our starting temperature is going to be 22 degrees. So in the very first column, 22 degrees. You see that right there. Ignite these chips. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stoke the fire, because if I don't, the ones in the bottom won't get any oxygen, they won't burn. I want to make sure I burn the fuel that I put in there. See, it's basically is burned out already. Some burning embers in there. Temperature is still going up. I'll zoom in on that in a second here. See, the temperature is at about 31 degrees right now. And we're just seeing if any more heat energy is going in. Make sure we get an accurate temperature. Every degree we're off, we'd be multiplying that mistake within our formulas that we have. See the first one beneath your data table there, you'll be using at the bottom of the paper. And indeed, it has gone up to 32 degrees. And it's stopping there, so the ending temperature is 32 degrees. I'm going to take that container out, and we'll find the ending mass of the fuel, which is 19.63. You see, I already wrote down 32. And we've got 19.63 grams for an ending fuel mass. We've got our last test to do now. I'm going to get the beginning temperature. And while that's settling in, we'll find the starting mass of our pine chips. I'm sorry, our birch bark, which is 20. Move that back so you can see. 20.75 grams. So we'll record the starting mass. So 25 and 75 hundredths of a gram. Temperature's still dropping in this particular one, so we're going to let that settle down for a sec. Make sure we get some accurate data. And again, just a reminder that in each situation, I'm putting 40 milliliters of water, which is equal to 40 grams. And we have got a starting temperature of 22 degrees Celsius for the birch bark. I'll be doing the same thing, kind of stoking that fire. This one is significantly smokier. Which is why I'm doing this in Mr. Jones's room. He has some nice ventilation where my classroom does not. By the end of the day, I'd be a little dizzy. More so than usual. Definitely smoky. It's just about done. But again, there's a good amount of heat in there. That's still pumping its calories into the water. So we'll check out what do we have for temperature right now. Doesn't want to play. There we go. It's currently at 41 degrees, and I can see it's still climbing. It's at 42. We'll see if it goes beyond 42. Looks like it's maxing out at 42 degrees Celsius, so the ending temperature is 42 degrees Celsius. And we're going to get an ending mass of the fuel now. Don't know why, but we lost power. Okay, we're zeroed out, and our ending mass is 19 75/100ths. So we'll fill that out. That's a nice subtraction problem there for you. 19 75/100ths. Excellent. So you will have to figure out the data using subtraction for these to find the change in temperature. And again, using subtraction, you'll find the change in mass. You will then use that data using this formula here on the front side for these problems. You will then use, once you get the answers to that, you will then use that answer to find the fuel value and apply this formula here to these fuels here. All right, and then you're expected to answer the wrap-up questions for homework immediately after. All right, thanks for watching.